Hey guys, it's Justyn. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to day 8 of Vlogmas 2020. So for today's video, this is going to be a little bit more of a serious topic. As you can probably tell from the title, I am no longer a WW ambassador. I just decided to no longer be affiliated with Weight Watchers in that way. Basically, our values didn't align well with each other, nor did I feel like it was a good fit for me. And it not being a good fit is actually something that I felt from the very beginning, which may come as a surprise to a lot of you guys because it's not something I ever really talked about. And I know from the outside looking in, it could seem like, oh, well, you get free products and perks and stuff, so everything must be good. But I think that just goes to show that everything, isn't always what it seems. So in today's video, I am just going to be talking about how I feel about the recent things that have occurred, as well as what just led me to this decision. So first things first, I just would like to start off by saying that this is in no way intended to be a hate video, and this is absolutely in no way meant to be contributed towards cancel culture. I, for one, am not supportive of cancel culture. I feel like there's really just no positive thing that can come from just people jumping on a bandwagon to cancel a person or a brand. But with that being said, this decision, I did not make it easily or hastily. This came after a very long time of thinking about it and talking to the people closest to me about it. And also on my channel, I have really just brought you guys through everything, good, bad, and the ugly. And I feel like because I was so public about my love for WW before, I need to also just inform you guys of what's going on now. And yeah, so first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and do this in 2 sections. For starters, I'm gonna talk about why I personally did not feel like it was a good fit for me. And then towards the end of this video, I'm gonna talk about the most recent actions that I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about WW. So pretty much from the beginning of me being an ambassador, at first I was really excited, of course, I'm sure like everybody is. And I took it as an honor to even be thought of in that way from WW. But I very quickly started having feelings like my journey was no longer my own. And I felt this way because of several things that pretty much occurred. I felt like after I became an ambassador, I kind of felt like I was in a box. And I'm not saying that's completely on WW. I think a part of it was me also just putting myself where I thought was the only place that I can go. I felt like I was labeled as a WW YouTuber and that my only worth really was talking about WW related content. So just to give you guys some examples, probably a month after I became a WW ambassador, there was a post that I posted on my Instagram. It was a before and after picture, and I remember I was very vulnerable and candid in the caption because that post for me was kind of like my first public acknowledgement of the fact that I was struggling with my weight loss journey. And I know now I've talked about it quite a lot, but back then that was like the first time, after having all of this success, I finally came out, I guess, and said, hey guys, I'm struggling. And that was something that was really, really hard for me. So anyway, I posted this post. I was super open and vulnerable in the caption, and I just didn't think anything of it. I posted it, fine. And then a few days later, I got an email that basically was me getting in trouble with the heads of the ambassador team saying that I did not put the WW disclaimer in the caption of the photo, which basically it's like a legal reason why you have to do that. But I guess for any post talking about weight loss, you have to put certain verbiage about WW. And I don't know, to me, that it left a bad taste in my mouth because I'm like, okay, yes, technically I did lose weight with WW, but this didn't really have anything to do with WW. And that was just kind of like my first taste of feeling like my journey was starting to not really be my journey. Another example is that I posted something here on YouTube and I received an email that I needed to immediately take it down because it went against some guidelines or something. And that was like, damn, like once I started constantly getting feedback like this, I'm not gonna lie, it made me start to second guess every little thing. I started to feel like I wasn't good enough. And I know a lot of people might think I'm being dramatic, but maybe it was just me already being insecure within myself, and then I'm having this program tell me that I need to edit this, I need to take this down, I'm not posting enough of this. There was an issue where, because the way I think of things, I'm a YouTuber first, and then what I do on Instagram kind of becomes second. So with being an ambassador, we would get a lot of like WW products and stuff sent to us so that we could promote it to you guys, and a lot of it I would promote on my YouTube channel. But I guess because the ambassador program is mainly focused on Instagram, it looked like I wasn't participating, and so there was an email about that, like, Justyn, we're sending you all this stuff, why aren't you promoting it? And I'm like, well, I am, it's just not on Instagram. I don't know, it was just kind of this phase where I just felt like everything I was doing was getting nitpicked, and it just made me feel like, is this even worth it? Because before, when I was talking about WW, it was fun. It was just something I did because I wanted to share my journey with you guys. But now it was just starting to seem like an obligation. And with that being said, I really want to emphasize the fact that I didn't feel like it was a good fit for me and me only. So that's to say, I know there are a lot of other ambassadors who clearly don't mind, you know, putting disclaimers and hashtag WW ambassador on every single photo. It wasn't working for me, because I'm like, okay, I'm more than just WW. So anyway, those were some of like the first initial things that started to like irk me the wrong way. And what I told myself every single time I would get frustrated, I was so tempted to quit, but what I would do is I would try my best to like just give it a few days and just cool down so that I didn't make any hasty decisions in the moment. And I just told myself, you know what, Justyn, why don't you at least try to give it a year, and if in a year you still feel like it's not a good fit for you, then you can at least say that you tried. I think part of the reason that I decided to stay was, for one, when it first happened, I kind of took it as an honor, and you know, I should be grateful that I was even considered for this opportunity in the first place. And then I also was trying to like look at myself, and I'm like, you know what, maybe I'm tripping, because clearly none of the other people have any problem with posting these things. It's just me. So I was like, you know what, maybe it's me, so let me at least give it a year to chill out. But if I'm being like 100% honest and raw with you guys, I think a big part of it is that right around the time that I became an ambassador was also around the time that I started really struggling with my weight loss journey. And I think because I was so upset that I was having such a hard time like getting a grip of that, and I was going in the opposite direction on the scale, and I was gaining a lot of weight very quickly, I guess I just felt like, you know what, at least I'm still an ambassador. I think for me, that was like the one thing I guess I felt like I could control, or the one thing that I still had, because I felt like I was just letting people down, which I know isn't necessarily the case. And even if it is, I shouldn't have cared anyway, because at the end of the day, it's my journey. I've grown a lot since then, but I think back then that was like my own personal doing. It wasn't like I felt good about being an ambassador so that other people could see me as something higher than. That wasn't it at all. I think for myself, so much of my life felt so out of control at that point, and so the fact that I could at least keep that title meant something to me, even though I didn't really even care for the title, because I didn't feel like I even fit well into this program. So I really hope all of that made sense. I don't know if I said this, but this is about the 5th or 6th time I've made this video, and this is the furthest that I've gotten, so we're gonna go with this take. All right, so now let's go ahead and start talking about the more recent issues that have occurred, and that is basically WW's involvement with promoting and partnering people and brands that have extremely questionable values, and values that you wouldn't think WW would want to advertise to its members. So first things first, about probably by now like a month and a half ago, there was a situation where WW announced a new ambassador, and it didn't take very long for people to find a lot of extremely insensitive posts made by the ambassador's boyfriend. Now, at the time, I didn't even know this, but the ambassador's boyfriend was very heavily involved with her social media presence. He was also a WW member. They had a joint page together and a joint YouTube channel together. So this isn't just some like random boyfriend that's irrelevant to the equation. There were posts on his page basically mocking Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, the Me Too movement, just extremely insensitive stuff. And I think what also rubbed people the wrong way is that she was liking some of those posts. She had commented agreeing with some of those posts. And to put things into perspective, back in June, WW made a statement to be diverse and inclusive and to do better and be better. And so I think seeing that from WW, but then they put this person out as somebody who is essentially going to be a representation of their brand, it just doesn't align and it doesn't make sense. So that person was eventually removed from being an ambassador. But what really kind of wasn't right was that WW never spoke on it. There was never a statement made about this publicly. There was something that was told to us, basically, you know, if anybody asks you, this is what you say. And I just didn't appreciate that, because yeah, you're a brand, and I can understand why they didn't want to say anything, because they didn't want to let the other 95% of their members know what was going on. But still, you need to take accountability for what happened. If it was an honest mistake, just come out and say that. And I think people would respect you more. But when you leave people on red and basically just don't say anything, you leave them like your silence is left up to speculation. So anyway, that was that situation. And then about a week and a half ago, there was a situation where WW started partnering with a brand called American Dream Nut Butter, which is basically just a peanut butter company brand. And WW started selling their products on their online shop. So this brand had already, prior to this, been very publicly known for having kind of the same issues as before. Racist owners that had mocked the Black Lives Matter movement and said some just extremely hateful, derogatory, and racist things. Now, this was very much public knowledge, so at first I was gonna give them the benefit of the doubt for the ambassador situation, because I don't know, the way I am, I really truly do like to believe that most people have good intentions. And I was like, you know what, maybe they just didn't know. But after being called out for that, and then literally not even a month later having some other stuff go down, I was like, I remember when I first saw this, that my first response was, it is getting so exhausting, like feeling like I have to defend this brand. And I know I don't have to, but just constantly seeing stuff like this, like I don't even want to be associated with this anymore. So once people started complaining about that, WW did take those products off of their online shop. And this time they did make a statement, but it's just interesting how things work, because for one, it was a story, which if you know anything about Instagram, a story is only up for 24 hours. So it wasn't worth a full in-feed post, but yet and still, the whole tone that I kind of received from Weight Watchers at this time, and I think a lot of other people did, is that, okay, you've got this ambassador situation, you've got this brand situation where it is just clearly a big uproar in your community. Not only are you not saying anything about it, but at the same time, you're posting these very lighthearted, jokey memes and photos of food and stuff on your Instagram account as if nothing has happened and nothing is going on. And I kind of took that as, not only are we going to ignore you, and not only are we going to not address what is going on, but we're also just gonna try to like sweep it under the rug as if it never happened. We're just gonna continue business as usual. Let's not mess up the feed. Don't miss any posts. That's kind of how that was perceived by me. So those are the two main situations that most people do know about by this point. But I will say that there has been an ongoing thing that has personally upset me, and that is the extreme lack of diversity within the WW ambassador group. So going into it, I could already tell that there was a lack of diversity, but I think sometimes as a person of color, you're taught that you have to work twice as hard to be just as good, and that once you receive opportunities, not to ask for too much. Be grateful, shut your mouth, don't draw too much attention to yourself, keep it moving, don't ask for too much. So me being in a situation, I'm gonna be honest, is not something that is very unfamiliar to me. I've been in multiple situations just in life, career-wise, being in school, where I am one of very few people of color within the demographic of whatever group I'm in. But I will say that back in June, when WW made the statement that, you know, their main priority was gonna be diversity and inclusion, I started to get excited, and I was like, you know, this is gonna be great. Maybe some change is gonna spark. black. And so far I have just been extremely disappointed with that, because it honestly just seems like that was a lie, and probably a lie just to save face at the time. So part of what took me a minute to get this video out, because I know by now it's kind of almost old news, is that for one, I'm very much not a confrontational person. So I had to sit down beforehand and try to make sure I was able to get all of my points across. I needed to do some research because I didn't want to come on here and just be dramatic. I wanted to give you guys actual factual information. And part of that is I went back to kind of do some calculations of what's been going on with the ambassadors to make sure what I am perceiving on the other end of the screen is what is actually going on. So just for context, I'm going to give you guys a timeline so everything is going to make sense. Starting with, I think, the beginning of everything. As a lot of you guys know, George Floyd was murdered on May 25th. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because his murder was probably the single-handed event that initiated a lot of the protesting and riots that went on during May, June, and July of this year. And a lot of the protesting and rioting that went on initiated a lot of brands to really look down deep into themselves and see where they can do better. And a lot of brands realized that they didn't have things in place to combat racism within the workplace, and they were not being very diverse as they might have imagined that they were being. So anyway, on June 9th, WWE released the statement that I was talking about, to do better and be better, and I quote, "Make it a priority to cultivate a wellness community of diversity and inclusion." So that's what WWE said. Now, about a week later, I posted my post on Instagram with the it was a thread actually, the 36 Black WWE members to support and follow. If you're coming here from Instagram, I'm sure you've already seen it, or if you just follow me here on YouTube, I mean, I have mentioned it quite a few times. But anyway, I posted that as a way to amplify melanated voices, because at that time I was seeing a lot of people start to speak up, and it was interesting how many people were saying that they really don't see people of color, like basically Black WWE members. I was seeing a lot of people saying that, and to me that was a little bizarre, because my feed is full of Black WWE members, and I'm like, well, you're gonna see what you follow, so whatever you interact with, that's what you're gonna see. But you know what, let me give people the benefit of the doubt. Let me create something that other people can share with the rest of the community. And if you're really serious about diversifying your feed or whatever, here are some people with amazing journeys who have things in common with you that you can do that with. Here you go. So I posted that, and I never publicly said this, but one of my biggest hopes for that post was that, oh, it would be so cool if like some of the people on that post who weren't already ambassadors could become an ambassador. Because, you know, just a week before, WWE said they were all for diversity and inclusion, and I can tell that the ambassador program is not very diverse. So here's a group of people right here. Here, you can start right here. Sorry, my camera died. So anyway, I forgot where I left off. WWE made the statement, I made the post, and then what happened after that just really told me that WWE's statement was just to save face, because they did not really change their percentage of diversity at all. So like I said, I did my research, and from June 9th until now, there has been at least 13 new ambassadors added to the group. And I say at least because I could only go off the information that was provided. People might have deleted their stuff, and there's just no way of me telling, but I know for sure at least 13 members. Guess how many of those members were Black? Just guess. One. And that one was not added until last month. So this whole time, it took you that long to find somebody Black to add to the group, which is just questionable. I will say that there was also a Hispanic couple added to the group, so kudos to that. I'm very proud that other races are being included as well. But let me just give you guys some perspective of how all of this information seemed to come out to me. All right, so June 9th, we're all for diversity and inclusion. We are gonna do the best, fight the power. We are with you guys. We are here for our people of color. Yes, Black members, we're here for you. All right, diversity, inclusion. A new WWE ambassador. Another new WWE ambassador, another new WWE ambassador. And I'm trying my best to be politically correct right now, but what I really want to say is, okay, here's another white WWE ambassador, here's another white WWE ambassador, oh, here's another white WWE ambassador, and here's another white W and another white W. Oh, but here's a Hispanic WWE ambassador. Diversity. and another white WW ambassador. Another white W, another one, and another one, and another one. Oh, and another one. And then at the very end, about a little bit over a month ago, here's a black WW ambassador. Here you go. It only took us 6 months, but here you go. Be grateful. Diversity. And I know I'm trying my best to make this as lighthearted as possible, but that's how the last 6 months seem to play out to me, which is extremely disappointing. And like I said, I try my best to give people the benefit of the doubt, but after just all of this collectively, I'm like, girl, it's time for you to go. I think I've tried my best, and one thing about myself that I've learned throughout this entire process is that I do have a problem separating business from personal. And for some reason, I thought that part of the reason I didn't want to leave is that I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, which is crazy because I would hear people say, people like actually physically in my life that I would talk to, they were like, girl, they will replace you in 2 seconds. They don't care. And that's not to say that everything is bad. It's not all bad. And the program itself is an amazing program. I mean, I have to give that to them, but their values are questionable. It is extremely questionable. And you know what? I just had to say that, as uncomfortable as it is for me to make this kind of video, because this is very much not what I do and just not my personality, it would make me even more uncomfortable to continue to stand behind them. So that is why I decided to make the decision that I did. Whew. Alrighty. This is the first time I have gotten through this. I'm sure there is a lot that I am missing, but you know what? We're just gonna go with this. So with that being said, I guess moving forward, I honestly, at this point, I have not decided whether or not I am going to stick with WW as an actual member. I've gone back and forth for a good while on whether or not I felt like I should stay as a member. I will say that I just recently, as of a few days ago, I started therapy, which has been absolutely amazing, and I'll have some videos coming up soon talking about that. But prior to going to therapy, my thought process was that I was more than likely going to still continue to be a WW member. I just wasn't going to be publicly affiliated with them anymore. And the reasoning that I was going to continue to be a member, although what has recently been going on with WW is extremely disappointing, at the end of the day, it is a tool and no more than just a tool. I think I gave a lot of credit to WW, honestly crediting them more than I even credit myself for my own journey. And I don't want to make that mistake again with another company. So I do know that at this time, at least, I am not going to be switching to iTrackBytes or MyFitnessPal. I know a lot of people are currently making the switch with do you, boo. No shade at all. This is in no way intended to influence anybody at all. I'm just explaining my situation. I just don't think that switching to another program would be beneficial to me at this time. So anyway, that was prior to therapy, but now that I have been, I will say that just after my first session alone, I think it's probably a good 90% chance that I am going to end up quitting WW in the future as a member. And that is because she just really opened my eyes to how much I've been influenced by diet culture and how that has actually harmed me in a lot of different ways. So anyway, I'm going to talk more about that in another future upload. But I think moving forward for me, I am more so focused on my inner and mental health. Right now, I'm trying to heal from the inside out versus the outside in. And just Weight Watchers, iTrackBytes, any program is just not a priority to me right now at this moment. So I will keep you guys updated on what I do decide in the future. But I guess the last thing that I want to say is that I truly hope that WW watches this video, and just FYI, I am informing them that I am making this video. I really hope that they watch this and receive it in a way not as just one more person trying to cancel them, but really as something that they could learn from. Like I said, I tried my best to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it just comes to a certain point where you just can't anymore. A business that big, a business that has been around literally for decades upon decades upon decades, that has grown to have the success that it has grown to, is like, there's no way at this point that you can't know. All right guys, so even though this video was kind of a Debbie Downer, I really do hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up, and I am still gonna do the super special secret emoji. So very special shout out to Ms. Audrey Cottrell, very special shout out to Miss Juanita Reynoso, and very special shout out to Miss Leona Smith. Thank you guys for supporting. I really do appreciate it. And for today's super special secret emoji, I'm gonna just find something random because I don't even want to try to get something that has anything to do with this video. All right, let's go with the holding hands emoji. I feel like that actually, it kind of symbolizes this video, but in a positive way. So I'll put it right up here. Make sure you comment that down below and you will possibly be shout out in my next video. And as always guys, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join me on this journey, and I will catch you on my next video. Bye guys.